Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Nick.
Hello.
Good morning.
Morning.
And Gal is here.
Good morning, everyone.
And Katie's here.
Good morning.
Good morning. And our correspondent from Virginia, Spence, is here.
It's so good to be here.
That your Virginia accent?
That's an awful.
That's my Virginia accent. That's right.
Our number is
Tidewater accent.
Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by VMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. Kind of rainy day here in Raleigh.
Yeah, man. It's gross out. I had to turn on all my lights. Usually my office gets a lot of sunlight, but in order to see my pretty face, I had to actually turn on lights.
And we can see it.
Yeah.
So, what's going on?
I don't want to ruin the show, but I feel the need to. But I feel the need to start off with a personal gripe this morning. So, a personal gripe. I've got a Raspberry Pi 3 that I've had for a couple of years, and I think I've talked about it on the show before. I have a little, it's like 16-inch Acer monitor that sits over here to my right. And I've used this Raspberry Pi B as a dashboard for Home Assistant so that I can look at all my stuff in my house. People use that. It's a common thing. Right before Christmas, it stopped working correctly. There was something wrong with the OS, and I was traveling. It's been busy. I hadn't had a chance to get to it. So yesterday I had some free time. I decided, okay, let's crack down and look at it. So the Raspberry Pi doesn't boot. So I take out the little micro SD card, I throw it into my computer, and it's showing that it's in, it's a micro SD card, not an SD card. It's showing that it's in read-only mode, which is odd because it doesn't have a protection switch like a regular SD card does. So I try a couple of things online, some disk edit commands to try and remove the tag, and none of it works. And the real reality is the SD card is corrupt. I've had it for years. Not the craziest thing in the world. So you would think Staples, Office Depot, Best Buy, one of these stores that sells electronics would have somewhat of a supply of micro SD cards in stock. And you would be so miserably wrong that I can't. So I went to the Staples website, and this is what I found in stock. Now, this isn't a terrible selection. Let's be clear. Let me zoom in on this here. So this isn't the worst selection in the world. You've got a 128 gig Lexar card for $20. I don't need it. It's a Raspberry Pi. Then you've got a 256 Lexar. I don't need that either. Way too big. Couple of other ones, 64. They don't have a single 32 gig SD card, micro SD card in stock at Staples. I would have driven to the store and spent $8 on this 32 gig Lexar if they had it in stock. Exact same thing at Office Depot. Best Buy didn't have anything that was under 64 gigabytes. Walmart had some, but I couldn't determine what the stock was. So I bought two for the price of $6 on Amazon. And that's my gripe of why big box stores are completely freaking useless. Something that they should have in stock that is common, that people use, they don't have it.
Yeah, but Nick, don't people today look for the bigger
I can understand if
storage.
I was trying. I've got some older ones, 4 and 8 gigabytes. I understand. I get I can't buy those anymore, but 32 gigabytes is still a common size for a micro SD card. And I'm not going to spend $40 on a micro SD card for
Yeah. No.
a
no.
3 gigabyte Raspberry Pi install. I was just so disappointed that I couldn't find even Target. I checked them too. And Target had 132 gig, but it was some SanDisk Pro whatever. It was like $21, which was just way more than I was going to spend. So it was a situation where I would have been willing to drive to a big box store, even if it was, I would have spent $10 was my limit to buy it in person. And none of the local stores could meet that. So I chose Amazon and it'll be here on Tuesday. I was very disappointed.
Yeah, I learned.
Hence, do you hear this new generation? They're not willing to shell out $20 for good hardware. It's because you cheapskate that this is happening.
No, because
I
here's the
can't
thing.
make a buck because you won't buy.
He's
But here's
teasing
the
you. He's
problem.
teasing you, Nick.
I had a high
course he
quality
doesn't know.
SD card, Gal. I had a SanDisk and it stopped working.
Oh, come on. Okay, so let's address. I'm with you on the gripe, right? I've already resigned to. I've sold my life to Amazon, so I'm not
look at
fighting that
this.
anymore.
Look at
I
this.
agree.
32 gigabyte micro SD cards for $8.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get it the same day?
No, and fortunately, I didn't need it the same day. But and agreed. If I needed a micro SD card, I would have had to shell out whatever to buy one. It wouldn't have been an option. But in this case, I don't. This isn't a mission critical thing. But I would have liked to have completed the project yesterday. To answer your question, yes, I would have liked to do it yesterday. Instead, it's probably going to get pushed to next weekend because this isn't coming until Tuesday or Wednesday.
Right. And look at it this way.
Interesting.
The next time this happens, you would have an extra one.
Well, and that's it too. And I mean, this is a micro center card, which I don't believe it's actually micro center, but it's the number one choice. It's got 82,000 reviews. Here's the thing. I didn't expect this deal in a store. I wouldn't have expected to walk into any big box store and get 2 of these for $8. However, I should have been able to get one 32 gigabyte card for less than $10. I don't think that's unreasonable to ask.
It could be that the manufacturing has moved on. The 32
Yeah.
is not the sweet spot anymore, so they're making larger ones. So the stock on the 32s is being diminished.
Right, but
Probably.
the store
32
but-
is the most common one.
Which one is?
32 is probably the most common.
Yeah, that's what I would
It's
think.
the one that you would install for embedded systems like the Raspberry Pi, etc. Right? Is the one that you would install the OS on. But here's the thing, right? There's a reason that it died on Nick. These SD cards, right? And it's also true for USB sticks. They're not meant to be continuously written on, right? And an OS has a tendency of writing a lot of stuff as it runs. Embedded OSs, on the other hand, are designed to write as the minimum possible to disk, right? If it can, it creates a RAM disk to write whatever it needs to. And yes, there's very little persistence, but whatever it's writing doesn't need to be persistent. So 3 years for a Raspberry Pi running Linux, because that's basically what you're doing, right? Are you using the Home Assistant OS, their image, or did you pack a Debian and install it on?
This isn't my server. This is literally just a computer that runs a Chromium that I view the interface on. It's just my dashboard. It's not actually.
It's like
the
a
Home Assistant
terminal.
server. Yeah, essentially, it's a terminal for Home Assistant.
So it's a regular OS running a browser.
It's Raspberry Pi Lite with Screen X installed and Chromium. And here's the thing: I don't know how old this SD card is.
Raspberry Pi OS is designed to write.
Yeah. Oh, for
as
sure.
minimum as possible. So it should have lasted.
I
A bit
Yeah,
should
but
longer.
this
check.
is but it's electronics. It happens.
It could be you took a power surge, or it could just be poor materials just failed over time.
So it looks like, I believe I'm just looking at my Amazon shopping history to see if I can track down. I think I bought this card in 2017. Yes, I did. So that card is
Too
from
bad.
2017. It's not been in use since 2017 constantly,
Too
but it's
bad you
been
didn't
in
buy
that
it
car
in
since
early
2017.
2000s.
Say it again?
Too bad you didn't buy it in early 2000s. Back then, SanDisk still sold those with lifetime guarantees.
Yeah. Yeah, this was actually, yeah. Well, no, this is a different one. I don't know what I bought. I don't know when I bought it. No, I did. I bought it October 16th of 2017. So I wasn't I don't care that the card died. I mean, it's a little piece of hardware. It's not, it happens. Life goes on. It was just the frustrating process of being willing to keep these, I try to practice what I preach a little bit. Let's not get crazy. In some regards, I like to practice what I preach. And I'm very critical of online retailers and the idea that they have just completely ravaged, the middle class economy, where high schoolers can't get, there's no job, there's less jobs for high schoolers because there's no retail work. So if there's an opportunity for me to purchase retail and buy retail, I will, even if it's a little inconvenient. But there's a limit to that. And when the best deal I can find is a 64 gigabyte card for $25, it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And you would assume Best Buy too. I mean, as large as those freaking stores are, and as big as their camera section and their phone section is, and their computer section, because a lot of these newer computers are coming with micro SD card slots built in, and people use them for expandable storage. And even then, they even had a worse supply than Staples. I just don't get it.
And a lot of webcams now come with local storage, micro SD cards, like all the Wise cameras come with
A great example.
storage.
Smart doorbells, anything.
Everything.
For example, I have an Arlo doorbell, and I've got a 128 gigabyte micro SD card in the base of it that it records to. So again, it's not like it's an obscure piece of hardware. Micro SD is very, very common. Any Android tablet that you buy, I don't know.
No.
Dash cams.
Yes, anything.
Yep.
Trail cams. I mean, a million things. So
Okay, so
I don't know
now-
if it's not a big seller, if they're not moving inventory, but if you can't stock something as mainstream and as simple as a micro SD card at a certain level. Again, I didn't expect to find it because I have 8 and 4 gigabyte ones. I expect the manufacturers have moved on from that. There's no cost there. 16, I would have been happy with the 16, but I get it. 32 is not a small amount of storage. If you buy a Chromebook, it's got 32 gigabytes of built-in eMMC memory. So, yeah, there's.
All right, so
I'll leave it there. There's my personal gripe this morning. Do better, fulfillment and stocking managers. Do better with this stuff.
I had a product failure that surprised me. Was I don't use my Amazon Fire TV or in my office often, but I went to use it this past week. I was working at my desk all day, and I wanted to watch something, and the card is dead. The Fire Stick is dead. Just no. I tried it. I moved it around. So, let me try it. So maybe the power supply is bad. Maybe this is bad. Maybe that was dead. Yeah.
No.
So, and it was the kind of, maybe it was 2.5 years old. Didn't get a lot of use, but
all right, so let me add to this with some question. So here's the Raspberry Pi, and it has an SD card in it.
Micro SD.
Micro SD. How do you back it up?
You could attach a USB drive and image it.
Okay. And there's only one slot to put an SD.
Correct.
micro
This is
SD.
a Raspberry. Raspberry
Okay.
Pis are
No,
small
I'm
devices.
just trying to.
Now the newer Raspberry Pis, the 4 and up, you can boot from. You could do the NIC boot, the boot from you send an image through the network to it, and it can boot on that. And the newer ones can also boot from a USB device. But this one's older, and the only option is a micro SD card slot. Which, yes, if that slot becomes damaged, which mine could be, I don't know. I don't think it is.
No,
then you just have to throw it away. Your SOL. I mean, that's what these things are.
So, all right. So,
I don't even know if the Raspberry. Here's the thing: I don't even know if the Raspberry Pi works without a micro SD card with an image on it. It doesn't boot. It just the light just comes on red and it doesn't do anything. And I have other micro SD cards, but I didn't want to format them and go through the whole process of like I have one on my 3D printer, but I have a whole bunch of stuff on there. I've got one in my Arlo home security camera. I didn't want to deal with that. And then I've got another one in a USB or a camera like Spence was talking about. I just didn't want to deal with it. So
who
knows?
Did you try to move that card to another machine and put it in a caddy and just see if it was addressable at all? Or
so it had this weird read-only tag on it. And I couldn't get rid of it. I tried multiple different micro SD card readers. I even tried some of the SD to micro SD cards directly into a computer. And same thing, read-only, can't partition it, can't inspect it.
And can't read it, even though it's read-only.
They can't read it. It says it's a 32 gig card, so I think 29 or something is the capacity it reports, but I can't do anything with it. So
does it have claw marks on it from Liberty?
No, it does not. I mean, the little contacts have a couple of, they get their little, they get worn out a little bit. But I don't know. It's just, device fails. It happens.
Yeah.
As Gal mentioned, this thing it was on 24/7 for the better part of 2+ years, just running a web browser. So I don't care that it died. I just care that I couldn't easily
get it.
Yeah, couldn't for a decent price get back up and running. Super frustrating.
Yeah, and it's not like it's going to cost them a fortune to, even if it's something that doesn't move, you keep 2 or 3 of them. It costs them less than $10 probably.
I would be so. If you're already stocking micro SD cards, I can't imagine another carousel for a 32 gigabyte card is going to make or break your supply chain. I just can't. And I guess you could say that about everything. And I'm sure everybody's got a similar story of, oh, they didn't have this device or that device. So, I mean, it's easy to sit here and say.
Did you try Home Depot?
I didn't, but
I'm wondering.
No, they most probably do. But at those stores, you're getting into where the cost doesn't make sense. I thought about Costco too, but I was not going to Costco on a Saturday afternoon. That was most definitely not happening.
No, it's okay. Like you said, it wasn't mission critical, and you wait until Tuesday. You wait till Tuesday, and then you'll find out if the Pi is bad or. Yeah.
Well, the SD card is definitely shot. The question is, did the Pi corrupt it or the Pi break it or something like that? Because the SD card is good.
No.
There's my gripe of the week. Sorry.
The what?
My gripe of the week.
Your gripe of the week? That's going to be Nick. This is going to carry you
the moment. Gripe of the moment.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what I've got here. This is something that Nick, you, or maybe even Gal would. MSI Afterburner is an app used the world over for graphics card monitoring, overclocking, and undervolting. But I never heard undervolting. I mean, you lower the voltage.
If you're trying to.
The opposite of overclocking.
Yeah, the opposite of overclocking. If you're trying to go for a specific, a lot of these folks are going for the best scores in these various 3D accelerated tests. And in some cases, you might overvolt certain parts of your board and then undervolt others to try and make the card stable. Afterburner is the go-to device for talking about very small voltage changes, like 1.4 to 1.45 to 1.46 volts, stuff like that.
All right. So it's becoming pretty synonymous with general GPU tinkering.
Yep.
Yet the app's developer has suggested it might not have long left to live in a forum post earlier this month. MSI disagrees, telling us we fully intend to continue with MSI Afterburner. MSI Afterburner is developed by Alexei Unwinder Nikolaich, a Russian national who has kept the overclocking up functioning over many years. He is also responsible for the development of Riva Tuner statistics server.
Yeah,
which,
Riva is very popular.
Which is part of the fundamental software layer powering Afterburner. In a post on Guru 3D forum, he suggests that Afterburner's development has been semi-abandoned. MSI Afterburner project is probably dead, he says. Do you use that, Nick? Gal, do you use it?
No, I've never dealt with
Okay.
overclocking.
I have it
on the-
installed. I don't use it.
I guess it will be a problem if it goes away. And it doesn't sound like he had a problem with MSI taking it and continuing it, even though it's his software. So maybe they will.
Well, it sounds like it's their software and he's the developer.
Oh,
I mean, the software's called MSI Afterburner. So I mean, they've got something to do with it. They're the ones releasing it. He must just be the one.
oh, okay. So
working.
it's not like it was something that he did.
Well, no. What
in
probably
Russia.
happened is he did do it, and
Okay.
then MSI wanted to buy it, so they licensed it or whatever. But he is still the one developing.
All right.
I think there's other utilities, but
That
I
do
know
the
MSI
same.
is the one that MSI is the one that everybody goes to MSI after.
All right. This is kind of disturbing. Gen Digital, formerly Semantic Corporation, and Norton LifeLock is sending data breach notification to customers, informing them that hackers have successfully breached Norton password manager accounts in credential stuffing attacks. According to a letter sample shared with the Office of the Vermont Attorney General, the attacks did not result from a breach on the company, but from account compromise on other platforms. Our own system were not compromised. However, we strongly believe that an unauthorized third party knows and has utilized your username and password for your account. That's what Norton LifeLock said. This username and password combination may potentially also be known to others. So, to make a long story short, this is happening more and more and more. And this is
It'll continue happening.
yeah,
It won't
because
stop.
well, I mean, but they are successful because people really use the same password in multiple places. And that's how they get to it. That's what it explains it in the article. That they
I understand. I'm not understanding the message that came out. So
well, all they're doing
these
is they're
companies, they do not put out a press release if they don't need to about something like this, right? So
Well-
have they been breached or haven't they?
they said that they
And
haven't.
this is my problem. They're really vague about it. They're saying no on the one hand, and then they say, but maybe maybe you have been by password stuffing, credential stuffing. Now, where did that source of credential stuffing, right? So credential stuffing is somebody uses a username password that you used elsewhere. What source are they referring to? Which breach are they referring to that contained that?
They,
Right?
yeah, they don't mention that.
Exactly. They're really vague about it. So maybe, right, they can say, look, it's not us that was breached, but etc., etc., etc. But it also means that the only reason they are coming out is because by law, they are required to,
Okay.
especially GDPR, right? So what is going on? They're hiding something. I'm guessing in a week or two we'll get another press release with some more alarming, even worse, right?
So
Well,
it's a carefully constructed legal department CYA.
Something like
it
this.
may very well
That's
be.
how it feels.
They said that on December 12th, they noticed an unusually large volume of failed login attempts.
Okay, that
So,
starts to be more like it.
yeah,
Somebody's trying to
right,
use your credentials
yeah,
is completely different than you have been exposed, right?
right.
Uh,
Um,
did they offer a solution?
to change the password, and they did change all the passwords for the affected. What they found out which accounts were actually attacked, they changed the passwords on.
So here's the thing. The only
Norton has reset passwords on impacted account and implemented additional measures to counter the malicious attempt. They recommend customers enable two-factor authentication and take up the offer of a credit monitoring service. Now they're offering this credit monitoring. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
right. No. I mean, everything feels fishy about this. Uh, if they are truly concerned about their customers, right? They need to issue a newsletter, a news announcement, very similar to that one, saying if you're trying to log in from a new device, you'll need to change your password. Completely fine, right? And we've reset
The
suspicious. Uh, that that part sounds okay, right? And then it makes sense that the news release like this will come out because hey, we're protecting you.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'm sure they are. That's the whole purpose of this is to cover their ass, but they also want to protect you because if they don't come out showing that they're protecting you, people will not get the services.
yeah,
Especially when their business is protecting you.
Exactly.
Sorry, I'm not familiar. What is the Nord thing?
Norton.
Norton.
So it's a password manager or something?
It's a
Oh,
bunch of
They
stuff.
Norton.
also have a password. Yeah, Norton.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They have different services. One of them is LifeLock.
It just it makes me think of Experian, those credit union people or whatever that have all of our information and they
Yeah.
keep getting hacked.
Yep. Well, this is like we talked about that. That's people like that are being attacked all the time, and people try to hack into those services because they know that if they're successful, they have a bumper year.
Mhm.
They don't go after your computer in your office, which would have nothing on it, probably, other than your information. Not that they're not going to try. Uh, Bots are doing this. This is probably done by bots, but people are overlooking, I would think. Which brings me to another interesting story that happened this week. Um, One of my uh, customers at Delta Force told me that they have a third party service that is doing their marketing and uh, their whole e-commerce. And it's going to another link, outside link, when you go to the store. And that they need to do something, and if they are getting in touch with me to cooperate. Sure, no problem. So the first thing I get is a request or login to the DNS. And years ago, we decided from the very beginning, Ron was saying, we shouldn't have any GUI to the DNS. We should do the DNS. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's type a couple of things and fine. So we always did it for our customers. So there is no GUI. So I told him, I said, well, we don't have a internet-facing GUI or even local-facing GUI. Tell me what you need and I'll do it right away. Well, no, I need to go in there and do it. And I said, well, there's no way. He said, well, maybe we should move it then. I said, you talk to the owner. If they want to move it, that's fine. And he comes back and he says, I also would like for you to remove the domain registration privacy and add me as a contact. So at that point, I called the owner and I said, look, here's this. Your guy is asking me to take off the privacy. I don't understand what for. I copied the guy. He comes back, not the owner, the guy comes back and says, well, I process credit cards on that domain, and to qualify for PCI, which is what gives you the license, the qualification to accept credit cards, you have to take the credit card, the privacy listing off, because they have to see who owns it. I'm saying, really? That's something new to me. And
that's weird though. If they're looking for PCI compliance, that means that he's literally manually running the credit cards.
Well, you see,
because if you're using Stripe or PayPal or any group, they are the ones that handle the PCI compliance.
Correct.
So now this website, do they do checkout on the website itself?
No, it goes to another domain. It goes.
That doesn't make any sense.
Actually, it's not another domain. It's a subdomain. It's like store that.
When you do that checkout, have you ever bought anything? Have you gone through
the
checkout process?
It's not something that I would buy. It's something for nonprofits. It's the one that you keep changing. That's the one. That's the one.
Well, hold on. Then I can check exactly.
And I tell you what I did. I went and I searched it to see what's going on with credit cards and privacy. Couldn't find anything. But I found the number in Massachusetts for the PCI Council, the people that are actually writing these rules. And I called and I talked to somebody and they said, really? We'd like to know what bank is requiring these people to remove privacy. He said, privacy actually adds to your qualification. Anytime somebody can break in or figure out what's going on, that gives them another step. And I said, well, that's what I thought. I was just wondering.
So now that I know who this is, they do have a proprietary back end for shopping.
Yeah.
So they might need PCI, but I can't imagine that the processing is happening.
Isn't asking for that.
I was told by.
I know, but I mean that's if you use any third-party credit card service, they handle the PCI. I don't know. This guy has to be manually. Well, I know this business, they're not running enough credit cards to go through PCI compliance.
Let me tell you something, Nick. That's not exactly true, because I was doing my own credit cards and I was doing PCI every year and all that.
Yep.
Then I decided, okay, here is a friend who does the processing, and it's going through AuthNet.
Mm-hmm.
authorize.net. I said, this will save me a problem. No, it doesn't save me the problem. They do PCI, but I still have to go through a smaller version of PCI questionnaire every year, which I don't mind. It's fine.
You know why, though?
No.
You do, because you physically take credit card.
Yes, that's true.
That's the thing.
No,
If
I
you're
understand.
If you're using Stripe or PayPal, you're not taking the credit card number. Stripe is doing
Correct.
the credit card authorization.
Okay,
PayPal
yeah, that's
is
true.
doing the credit card
That's-
authorization.
You're absolutely
agreed.
right.
If you're taking it locally on a form,
Yeah.
and when I say locally, I'm not meaning like
Yeah.
writing it down, but if you're taking it on your website and then doing the processing through somebody like authorize.net, but you're storing it, yes, you do need to go through PCI.
Yeah, no,
and you should.
we don't store it, but it's kind of
It doesn't matter. You're still
Yeah.
handling.
Yeah.
For example, I'm building a form right now for a political thing, a convention,
Yeah.
and there's a $10 registration fee,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm using a Stripe,
Link.
a Stripe, what?
Link. You send them
No,
to
not
Stripe
a
to
link.
pay.
Stripe has got an integration built with this service, so
Okay.
it goes directly through
To them.
Stripe's API, meaning I don't have to do PCI. If I wanted to make my own custom credit card form
Okay.
and
You're
then
right.
still use Stripe, I would have to go through
It's-
PCI because I'm storing that data, even though I'm not technically storing it. I'm storing it.
It's
In
just
this
like
case,
a PayPal cart that has buy now, and you
Correct.
embed it there. It doesn't involve.
it doesn't matter because
right.
the thing is when you're using PayPal, Stripe, or something else, the credit card information is actually not on your website.
Correct.
It never hits your server. It's
Correct.
all being done through that. So that's interesting. Now I've gone through PCI in the past with a small business that was running cards locally, and the PCI compliance is a royal pain in the ass.
It's a pain. I mean, a real pain.
Wait,
but for good reason.
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
What is all this? I have no idea what you're talking about.
That means that if you are selling some of your product on your website,
Uh-huh.
you can actually ask the customer to give you their credit card number, expiration, the address, the CVV, the code, and all that, and you process it through your bank. But you have to have from your bank, you have to have a merchant account, what they call. So it allows you to collect and process credit cards. Or you do what Nick was just mentioning, is you send it through Stripe or PayPal, and then when they want to buy it, they go to PayPal to do all the processing, and then you end up with the money. But your website, the connection between your site and them never gets any financial information of that card. That's what it is. And in order to be able, because when you're a merchant and you can collect credit cards, I mean, tomorrow I can go, and if you're a customer of mine and I have your credit card number, I can turn around and I can charge your card $10,000, which I have no right to if I'm a crook, and leave town. Now, whether or not you're going to be charged by the company, probably not. But I end up with the money somehow. So a lot of crooks were doing this. And this is part of that whole thing.
This is why I was a little confused, because I have an online store, but I use like Shopify, or like you said, PayPal. Like, why would I want to make my own? I mean, unless you said it was a crook.
There is serious reason that depending on what you're using, they might be taking 3.5 or 4.5% right off the top. That's a significant amount of money. Now, for most people, it's not worth doing, because unless you're moving so much volume,
money.
The percentage isn't worth what's the saying? The lemon ain't worth the squeeze. And so it doesn't really matter. But if you were doing, Kate, $100,000 a month worth of business, it might make sense to do your own credit card processing, because that fee might be the 3.5 or 4% fee might be 1.25 or 1.5 or something.
Well, at that point,
tens of thousands of dollars a year.
It's like a trade-off, though, because in order to make your own sales, whatever, you're gonna have to pay a developer or pay somebody or whatever, unless you know how to do it, and then
Correct.
go through all this stuff. I
Well, no,
would
not necessarily true. Like in a Word, like for example, you could install like WordPress, for example, and instead of using PayPal or somebody to do the processing, you could use something like authorize.net, in which you have to go through the process of being a merchant. So the integration is simple, but then you have to keep up with PCI compliance. And now you've
see
got to make sure your
that
website is
to me.
secure, because if you get breached and you leak credit card information,
Right.
there are serious penalties that are associated.
I think the cost and the security and the peace of mind is worth that 3 or 4%, because
Absolutely.
these are the companies that do this. If they mess up, it's not on you, it's on them. So as a business owner, I wouldn't even try to make my own unless I was a big company that did, I don't know, $250,000 in sales. And even then, those big companies, they hire out other companies that would build their own thing for them.
Yeah, but they
this
go
is
through it. It's they have people that know how to do it. I mean, I know how to do it now, and I've been doing it for years, and it's fine.
yeah.
It's okay. But the thing here is, that let's go back to what I was bringing up, is that privacy, and that PCI counsel in Massachusetts, the person there, the guy, and my credit card processor here in town, Tim, and another credit card processor, all three of them said one thing that they had in common. Domain registration has nothing to do with credit card processing. It's two different things. I mean,
It should. Yeah.
yeah. So that was kind of disturbing, and
Sounds like this guy could put himself in a position to take
well,
over
I
this
see.
website and business.
And I was telling the customer, I was saying, look, I may be overcautious, but this is weird. He said, well, look, we've been working with them for years, and there was never a problem. I said, yeah, a lot of people many more people with a lot more money were working with Madoff for years. There was no problem until there was a problem. And I'm not saying that he's a crook. I'm just saying there is something here. I really, my first impression was the guy really didn't know what he was doing, because I was talking to him on the phone, and he got really defensive when I told him, just tell me what you want to add, and I'll put it in he needed the text record
Text
added,
record?
replaced. There was already
Okay.
one. He needed replaced. Said, I have to do it every January. I said, okay, just give it to me. I'll do it right
Yeah.
away.
Easy.
No, I need to do it. I said, what? So it was really kind of, it was
Weird.
more and more things came. So
Trust
yeah,
your gut.
and the nice thing, what?
I said trust your gut on that.
Always.
If you feel like that this is weird,
I-
it is weird.
I found out one thing, though, that .org, and that domain is the .org, by default is the privacy is turned on, because the .org registry dictates that. It doesn't cost them more, but it is private. So I called register.com to ask them if there was a situation where they decided, yeah, we want to take it off, if there is a way to take it off. She said, yeah, it's not simple, but yes, we can do it for them. So far, didn't hear a thing. He sent me the text record. I added it.
Oh, so he did end up giving it to you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
he said, oh, well, I'll give it to you. Let's see what happens. But he still wants to take the privacy off. He said, I'm saying, look, it's been private all along. It was working. What suddenly is, this is why I'm kind of, you feel something, there's something
Well, and,
there.
you
I
know,
don't like that.
There's a situation, and obviously not with you, because of you still control it. But there is a situation where if you give enough of this access, somebody could very easily and very well take over your, and I'm not indicating that's what this guy is doing, but you could very
Right.
easily take over your website and
Well-
start doing very malicious things with only access to DNS, which is our favorite pastime.
Sure.
But all you need is the access to the DNS records, and you can easily set up a site that looks like that redirects to a malicious website. So that's that's nothing to sniff or to
and that's
what's that?
And when he was talking about the adding him as a contact, I told the customer, I said, look, there's no reason here. What's happening here, what he can do if he adds, if we add him as a contact, he can move the domain.
Yes, he can.
And he said, what do you mean? So I explained it to him. And I said, at the end, I said, look at it this way. Somebody's coming to your store and they want to use the bathroom. You tell them where the bathroom is. You don't give them the key to the store so they can come and go to the bathroom. You just say, here's the bathroom. Goodbye. You're welcome. But you don't give them a key to keep. You're supposed to be holding the key. So we'll see what happens next week. I mean, he was very understanding, and he said, I appreciate so much you telling me all this. But I never had a situation where when I felt like somebody's trying to pull something. And I may be completely off on this, but it's like Katie said, it's just a gut feeling. So if you have a domain, you really should have privacy on.
And most registrars, and I'll say this, if your registrar doesn't offer it for free, register your name somewhere else where it is free. Because nearly every single,
unfortunately, register.com does not.
It doesn't do it for free?
It's $8 a year. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're most people, general consumers wouldn't be able to use that.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's just, it was weird. Anyway.
There's one domain where I have privacy turned off.
You do?
Yeah, just one.
You actually turned it off, or
yes?
Why?
Because it's a organization that wants their privacy. Doesn't need the privacy.
Oh,
they said they didn't want it, so turned it off.
Okay, are you ready for special, Senor Nick?
I am. Now, we all love thrift store shopping, right?
That is my favorite pastime.
Yeah, it's one of mine as well. Imagine you walk into a thrift store and you see this. You've got a Coleman charcoal grill, a lamp, and the largest Ethernet cable that that's ever been known to man. I don't know if you keep scrolling down, Amnon. I don't know what this is. This is obviously a display, a mock display of an Ethernet cable for something. What, I don't know. But it is a very large Ethernet cable, which, by the way, folks on the internet noted is not pinned out correctly based on the color.
That's what I was about to say.
This is an RJ 45 million.
Yeah. Some folks are even saying this is what the underwater internet connection looks like. They just got a really long Ethernet cable between here and Europe. And this is how the internet connects. Wow. I don't know what the hell this thing is or why it was even made. But there you go, a very large.
Yeah, what was
probably a background display in some computers.
I mean, look how big it is. Next to that thing is a charcoal grill, and the thing, the connector is the size of the grill.
Yeah,
I want this.
Yeah,
so hang it on the wall, huh?
How much does the Keystone Jack weigh that you plug this into?
Yeah, very heavy unit there. I thought that was pretty funny. Specials are a little bit weird today. There was not a lot of mainstream stuff on sale. So be patient with me if you would. Starting off though is the Amazon Fire Tablet HD. This is the 2021 release. So it is still the latest model, but it's the 2021 version of it. This is a 10.1 inch full 1080p tablet available over at Amazon. This is the ad-supported version, so be advised of that. It's easy to turn off and easy to modify, but if you're not very techie, just be advised of that off the bat. 32 gigabytes. Great price, though. $85. This thing's normally on sale for $150. So you're saving just over 43% on that. And of course, that is available over at Amazon. This is their #1 best-selling product in the whole computer category. So that goes to show you how many of these things are sold and how many people have the Amazon Fire. Really good price for a pretty nice and pretty decently spec tablet over at Amazon. Keeping it there this morning, there's not typically a lot, there hasn't been a lot of printers over the last literally 3 years. There's been such a supply chain issue. And I guess all of the little components and gizmos and gadgets inside of printers have made the stock on them almost non-existent for years now, and starting to see a couple of them come back into stock. Here's a Canon image class. This is the model number on this is the MF264DW. This is a wireless monochrome laser printer. So this is not an inkjet. This is not for printing pictures at your house. It's a document printer, but it is a laser, which is great. Monochrome, print, copy, and scan with an auto document feeder. This is the next tier up from your Brother 212 or your Brother 210 or 2110 printer. That's just a singular printer. This has got all the bells and whistles on it, including a scanner and a copier. It is not a fax machine, but with the scanning, you could use any sort of text or a whole bunch of online fax services. You could use this as the intermediary to get those files on.
It is a fax machine.
It's not. Why do you say it's a fax machine?
Because it has
the keypad.
Keypad.
It has the keypad, but it doesn't have the connectivity for it. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know why.
No, I know that device.
Okay.
My doctor got one of them. I told him it is a workhorse.
But it doesn't. I think the reason it's got the keypad is because that's the standard front that they use. This one doesn't have a phone jack for faxing.
My office printer, you can email your documents to yourself.
Yeah.
So that's probably what it is.
It's the 264. I don't know. The other one is 230 some.
Yeah.
So it may be if you're looking at it, but it looks exactly the same. You're right.
It does look like it. Again, it's probably just a reuse of the keypad in there.
Okay.
It doesn't indicate it has an RJ11. It might. It just doesn't indicate it does.
Okay. All right.
But check that out. It's a great price though. This thing is normally a pretty expensive printer, $230, which is about on par for a nice high-end printer. It's on sale for $150. So, as Amnon noted, these things are workhorses.
I mean,
So
he's
you
been
can,
using it in the office for 2 years, and every time I'm there, it is just spitting out paper.
Yeah, these things are meant to. The difference, and the reason printers are so expensive, some of the higher end ones, is because you don't have to deal with them constantly breaking and jamming up and things of that nature. So that's available over at Amazon, $150.
I think you're wrong. I think the high end one is when it breaks, you actually need somebody to come in and fix
That
it.
would be that would be if you're using a print vendor to handle your printing and scanning. With this, you're probably going to throw it away when it
At $150, yes, you throw it away and you buy another one.
Yeah,
The guy coming into your office is going to cost more than that.
I know.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
So that's over at Amazon. Next up here, nothing extreme, a nice mid-tier television for a really great price. A 50-inch, nothing snazzy. This is an on-brand, Walmart's ONN period. That's their brand name. Roku television. It is a 4K UHD panel with support for HDR10. 2160p is the resolution there at 4K, and it's on sale for $198. Save about $30 on that. $40 on that. Check it out. Available over at Walmart. A couple of weeks ago in chat, I don't remember who we were talking to, but they mentioned the idea of their cable company provides them a modem and router, but the modem it's a charge on. It was like $10 a month, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you have internet forever. So $10 a month for years and years and years adds up very, very quickly. So on sale this morning, and this might be the deal of the day if you're interested in it, is the Motorola MB7621. This is a DOCSIS 3 cable modem that is supported by Comcast, Xfinity, Cox, and Spectrum. So those are the providers that it works with, and it's really simple. You'll the same way that your current modem router is plugged in via a coax cable, you'll do that here. One thing to note: this is just a modem. This is not a router, so you will need to purchase this and a router, which you can get for very cheap on the side. But at $60 for this, plus maybe another
That's cheap.
$40 for a router, $100 in a year, less than a year, 10 months. This thing will pay itself off. It's your equipment, and in some cases, you'll even experience better service because these modems just tend to be a little bit better. They don't have all the crap and bloat that the ISP device modem has in them as well. So check this out: 45% off, just $60, available over at Amazon. If you do pick up a router and you're not necessarily, your house isn't big enough to get the full mesh system, but there's maybe an area in like garage or a back room where the Wi-Fi is just a little subpar, Linksys has a AC 750 on sale over at Walmart. Now it's noted, I want to note that this will work with any Wi-Fi router. This doesn't just work with Linksys. This is an extender for any sort of Wi-Fi router. You'll connect it, you'll plug it in, connect it to your phone, set up the extender on it, or use WPS if your router has that, and it will be rebroadcasting your signal. Not a bad price. This is normally $40. You'll save 50%. It's $20.67 available over at Walmart. Next up, this is an interesting looking device. It's a USB hub, but it's a powered USB hub, which is useful if you're doing and wanting to charge and really get the full power out of USB. If you plug a USB hub into your computer, you're not going to get high power throughput. The USB spec and the port just doesn't support it. This one, on the other hand, supports the availability to plug in a full 24-watt wall jack. So you can use this with or without the wall jack. It's got 6 ports on it. 4 of them are for just traditional data transfer via USB 3. So you don't, or USB 3. So you don't need the power for that. But it also has 2 additional ports, one for what they call intelligent charge and the other for quick charge, which will do upwards of 3.5 amps through this. So you can not only plug it into your computer and use it as a USB hub, but you can also charge your devices at something better than the trickle charge at what's it, 0.5 amp is what USB spec is for power draw. It's just not enough power to really charge a device, especially a new iPhone or an Android tablet or an iPad. The batteries are too big. It just won't charge quick enough. That's available over at Amazon. Next up, not the ONN TV because it's too large, but if you have a smaller television or maybe you're wanting to mount a monitor or something in a spare bedroom or a small TV in a spare bedroom, hard to beat this. Available over at everybody's favorite Harbor Freight. This is the Armstrong 17 to 42-inch swivel tilt TV wall mount. This is only $5.99. So you can get that for less than $6. The coupon is on their website. It's in-store only, and that sale ends today. So if you're looking for a cheap little TV mounting bracket, I'm probably not advised, but you can mount a larger TV if it's doesn't weigh a lot on this probably as well. So check that out, available over at Harbor Freight. This next device is kind of interesting. Now, I know Gal is probably shamed because it's not a smart device, but it is they call it the digital wireless fridge and freezer thermometer. So the goal with this would be if you have maybe a spare refrigerator or deep freeze in the garage that you're not constantly looking at or touching or going into, if the refrigerant or the compressor, the cooling mechanism of that dies, you could have hundreds, if not thousands of dollars worth of food, depending on what you're storing, probably hundreds of dollars of food that'll just go to waste. So Accurite makes this device. It's 2 completely separate temperature probes. It's over 433 megahertz, so it's got about a 75-foot travel. And you set these things up and you set a temperature threshold. So if your freezer gets above whatever degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius, set an alarm off, and the alarm will be on this base unit. But you could use this for pretty much anything. The temperature gradient on this is -40 to 100 degrees. So you could even use this for an area in your house or something like that gets too warm. Two separate temperature sensors plus the home base unit that you set the alarm on. $25. Pretty good deal if you've got, again, a fridge or in the garage or something like that you want to keep an eye on. That's available over at Amazon, and it's 36% off.
I'm getting it.
There you go. Perfect. Not smart though. Won't connect to
Yeah, I
any of
understand.
your gizmos or gadgets, at least by default. I'm sure you could hack it open and there might be a contact or a relay that closes when alarm is sensed, and maybe you could jerry rig it into a smart device. But by default, it doesn't. It doesn't matter what new television you're buying. I don't care if it's a $200 on or a $1,000 Samsung. The built-in speakers suck. It's these TVs are so thin, the bezels are so small, they just don't have good speakers built into them. You need a sound bar. Here's a phenomenal deal over on a Hisense sound bar. You know them as the kind of cheaper television brand company. This is their HS205. This is a simple 2-channel 60-watt sound bar, but it's got a couple of cool features, including ARC built in, HDMI ARC, so that you can pass through HDMI audio directly through. So you don't have to run a composite cable or a line jack or anything to connect audio to it. It also supports USB media, so you can plug in a flash drive, Bluetooth, so you can connect your phone, or if you wanted to hook up maybe a record player or another device that has an aux output, you can do that as well. This is normally a $100 soundbar. It's 51% off, $49 flat, available over at Walmart. I know League of Legends is a kind of a love-hate relationship, so disregard the branding on this keyboard, but this is one of the best gaming keyboards that you can get. This is the Logitech G Pro. Now, it's a 10 keyless, so it doesn't have a number pad, and it's limited on its function keys. It doesn't have any, or not function keys. It has no additional keys on it, so no
Numeric keypad.
macro keys or anything like that, and no numpad either.
Yeah.
But this is a wired Logitech gaming keyboard, which has got their GX tactical switches in it. This is one of the go-to keyboards for people that are active and fluent gamers. It's got a removable USB connector, so it's not directly connected to the device. This keyboard's normally $130. It's 54% off. You can get it for just $59.99, available over at Amazon. Speaking of devices that use micro SD cards, here you go, Spence. The Google Nest Doorbell. This is a device that you will need to put a micro SD card in because it has no way to really store anything. If you're in the Google Nest ecosystem, this is good. If you're not, I did a lot of research before I got my video doorbell back a few months ago, and the Google Nest was not the one that I decided to go with. It's just some of the features of it and the ecosystem. It was something I wasn't interested in. But if you're already in Google, then this is a pretty good price. This is their wired 24/7 video doorbell. This is normally $230. It's on sale for just $80, available over at Woot. That is 65% off, and you'll get it delivered in the next couple of weeks. Rounding it out here this morning, two final items. This is a pretty cool and pretty beefy adjustable monitor stand. This is the hydraulic spring stand. So you mount one C-clamp to your desk or your table or wherever you're mounting your monitors, and you get two separate arms that come off of it. This is, it'll hold monitors of 17 to 27 inches. So two 27-inch monitors mounted side by side. That's a lot of screen real estate. With a maximum weight of about 14 pounds a monitor, which you're not going to find you're not buying a 27-inch monitor that weighs over 14 pounds anymore. It's too expensive. That's way too heavy. Supports swivel and tilt, rotatable stand. It includes the C-clamp for mounting it to the desk, or if you've got a big, wooden table, you could surface mount it directly with some screws. This is normally $90. You can get it on sale for just $36. That's available over at Amazon. Though make sure you click the deal in the specials because there is a Slick Deals coupon code for that. And then finally, tomorrow, on the 23rd, the everybody's favorite Internal Revenue Service will officially beginning accepting 2022 tax returns. So now you will have the availability here. If you need a more advanced tax system than just the default TurboTax or H&R Block essentials, here is TurboTax Federal and State Deluxe. It's important to note that this is the downloadable copy. So this is not the web subscription. It's the downloadable copy just for 2022. You can get it over at Newegg for just $45. The MSRP sticker price is $70. This is for both PC and Mac. So you can download this. It's apparently supports 350 plus deductions. You get 5 federal e-files and 1 state e-file as well. So that's what you can do. You can do more, but you have to pay for them. Everybody knows TurboTax. It's available over at Newegg. So that is your specials for a late January Sunday.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hopefully next week there's some more. I couldn't find a single laptop that was on a decent sale yesterday or this morning. So there was a Chromebook that was like $350. I didn't think that was necessarily a great deal. So
you got to get the time machine going. That can go into the future and find it.
Well, that's kind of what we do here is future deals. I'm next week. I'm just going to put a bunch of pictures up of things that I hope that are on sale and prices that I think on sale for.
All right. TikTok has confirmed to Forbes that some of its U.S. employees have the ability to boost videos in order to introduce celebrities and emerging creators to the TikTok community. The statement comes as part of a report about TikTok's heating button, which Forbes says can be used to put selected videos onto users or your pages, helping boost views by sidestepping the algorithm that supposedly drives the TikTok experience. So if you know somebody at TikTok US, Katie, you can ask them to make your TikToks go viral.
Wait, anybody can pay for this service. It's not just celebrities. And it's the same on Instagram and everything. This is how they make their money. You boost your post by paying money.
Oh.
So this is
but they're saying that it's not just automated. It's like on the discretion of the employees.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the news article. I don't think it's a big deal. Right?
No, it's
a big surprise, but yeah.
Well, maybe that's a better service because if you have a person that is doing it instead of a bot, maybe they can make choices that are better than what a bot can as far as like, oh, okay, well, I see it's this, so maybe we should try this. And
famous last words.
I mean, TikTok have never been shy about, let's call it, curating data. There are certain topics that they choose to completely forbid. Depression, for example, right? Stuff like that. It's like they choose what's on their platform. Maybe it's important.
It's just
they're an entertainment platform. That's what they are. They do not assume to be anything else.
Yeah. It just all these social media platforms have to make money somehow, and they all do it through you can pay to get your stuff boosted. And like you said, the only difference between this and the other one is that this is a person that you could pay to help you, or it gets automated through Facebook or Instagram or whatever other one you use.
All right, Gal, automation. For nearly a year and a half, a Massachusetts high school has been lit up around the clock because the district can't turn off the roughly 7,000 lights in the sprawling building. The lighting system was
What? I said, what?
the lighting system was installed at Minchog Regional High School when it was built over a decade ago and was intended to save money and energy. But ever since the software that runs it failed on August 24, 2021, the lights in the Springfield suburb school have been on continuously, costing taxpayer a small fortune. Their automation system died.
Wait, why can't
So nobody
Somebody
knows
forgot
how
the
to turn
password.
off a switch. Can you believe that?
Wait a minute. Why can't they just go to the breaker and
Well,
turn it
you
off?
see, that's what I mean. Nobody knows how to turn off a switch.
Oh my god. If all the switches were taken out, I don't know what the situation is, but let's say they switched all the switches and everything to smart devices or smart whatever, you could still go to the breaker box and just
Yep.
flip it.
Absolutely.
Like what?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to switch off an entire school, right? Because maybe there is, let's say, a cafeteria with fridges and stuff that you can't switch everything off, but it still sounds okay. So it's either somebody didn't pay for the license, right? And they're stuck, or somebody just forgot the password. It sounds like something as simple like that. Sounds ridiculous. I agree.
Ridiculous. It's
Ridiculous.
absolutely. I don't know. I mean, there should be a better word than that. It is ridiculous.
The word
I
you're looking
agree.
for is moronic. It's moronic.
It is. It's moronic. That's good. All right. We're talking about Norton. They're not alone. PayPal is sending out data breach notifications to thousands of users who had their accounts accessed through credential stuffing attacks that expose some personal data.
Uh-oh.
Credential stuffing are attacks where hackers attempt to access the account by trying out username and password pair sourced from data leaks on various websites.
Whew, good thing I used different passwords for everything.
Exactly. This type of attack relies on an automated approach with bots running lists of credentials to stuff onto login portals. Password recycling. PayPal explains that the credential stuffing attacks occurred between December 6th and December 8th. It's almost like these people were going from organization to organization with all these passwords they got, went to PayPal.
Well, that's
and then they went to Norton.
Credential stuffing is.
Yeah, and then they went to Norton, which was December 12th.
See, I'm not worried because one, I use different passwords for everything, and two, I always turn on two-factor notification. I got into an argument with as there's a guy I play video games with, and he refuses to turn on two-factor for one of his gaming accounts. When the gaming accounts, they have access to his credit card and everything because he has to pay to play and pay to buy, blah 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 blah. And the game penalizes him if he doesn't turn on two-factor, in that he doesn't have access to some of the stuff in game. Like it locks it behind. Well, if you want access to this, turn on two-factor, and he won't do it. And I'm like, why won't you do it? I don't understand, because it's like, well, I don't want the inconvenience of having to blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, so you only have to do it once, like you generally, unless you move computers or whatever. But if you're using the same computer or the same whatever, you just have to do the two-factor once generally, and then you're like in and it's fine. But you would rather go through the hassle of maybe somebody guessing or taking your account and then having to fight with their IT department to prove that it's you and not blah, blah, blah. Like, what? For a minor inconvenience that takes maybe 30 seconds? Like, I don't understand. I just don't understand.
Yeah, that's
because somebody forces him to do it.
I guess.
No, I would say it's because he doesn't understand it.
But what blows my mind is that he he has a certification in like tech security or something. Like so I'm like, what? Now I don't know if I trust him. If this is is this what somebody with a tech security degree is saying, that they don't want to put up with the hassle of two-factor? Like, I don't understand.
No, that's okay. Spence said that he had to run out. All right. But they're saying PayPal is saying that, what was it? It's not due to their servers being hacked, and
Yeah, somebody's using an exposed breach data, right?
It was not due to
from
a
somewhere else, and it's trying that.
right. It was
as you said,
due to a breach on its system and has no evidence that the user credentials were obtained directly from them. According to the data breach reporting from PayPal, 35,000 of its users have been impacted by the incident during the 2 days. Hackers have access to account holders' full name, date of birth, postal address, social security numbers, and individual tax identification number. I mean, listen, you really need to go and change. I mean, if you do anything, at least those important sites. I mean, look, I understand you don't like to remember different passwords. You don't like it. It's a problem. But banks,
download
doctors,
KeyPass,
yeah,
download
you could.
KeyPass and manage a password vault locally on your machine.
Yep.
If
Well-
you want it synchronized, you can use something like Bitwarden. I would recommend self-hosting it, but I understand that that's a tech level that requires. So I say download KeyPass and use something like Dropbox to synchronize, and you'll be okay. And you'll have everything at the palm of your hand as well as on your computers. Don't use the same password.
Absolutely.
Never, for anything. It doesn't matter, right? And the best thing is remember 5 passwords, right? 1 for your main vault, 1 to recover two-factor authentication, which should be on a separate system, right? And Amnon, I think to the outro, we're gonna add that. Never use the same password. It just
Okay, I can do
there
that.
is like a basic. This is basic computer literacy at this point.
Absolutely.
Okay, and if we make sure that we stop doing it now, right? Then yes, as long as we're stuck with passwords for a while, right? A lot of systems, a lot of methods are being tried to figure out how to stop using passwords as the main protection, because it is limited. There is a problem, right?
Mhm.
It can be hacked. Password stuffing is just a very simple a very simple reality we're living in. Never using the same password is the solution. There is no other solution as long as passwords are around. So be totally clear about that. And with that reality, right? With us facing that, our options right now are to do very limited things. Password vault needs to be the first thing that you install on a fresh machine, the first thing that you address, right? When you start something, you're registering to a website, you open your password vault and you have it generate a random password for you, and you never even know what that password is. You'll know what
And
the
you don't
username is,
need
you'll know
to
what
know.
the email is.
You don't need
there's
to
no
know.
need for you to know.
Right.
Yeah, there's no need for you to know. And the best thing is, if that site is breached, right, at least that pair of your email and your password is unique.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yep.
And by the way, this is also what allows Norton and PayPal to identify that they are being
Hacked or
there's
attacked.
there's an attempt to hack your account.
Yeah.
Understand, they were not hacked. There was an attempt to hack your account.
Mhm.
Right? If you're a customer of theirs and your data is in some breach, and that breach data is going to, in this case, a very stupid third party, but they are trying. This is the guy who found. This is equivalent to the guy who finds a random credit card on the at the street and runs to the store and tries to buy something with it.
Mhm.
Okay, this is the equivalent of this. This is, and that is why I never use the same password. Just please don't.
Yeah.
Your email should have a password that you remember, not just random characters that you can't remember how to write. It needs to be very long, your main email, and it should have two-factor authentication. Your password vault should be very long, if possible, with two-factor authentication. And your second-factor authentication needs to be accessible with a different password. Those are the only passwords you should remember. Everything else just needs to go to the vault and needs to be randomized.
Yeah.
And no, the system that you have where you add a few letters to your password because it's a different site, etc., that doesn't work. That's not viable. Okay?
It's better than
Because
nothing.
it's better than nothing, but it's not a good system because especially with the amount of data that has been breached and with AI, machine learning, analyzing those databases, right? And machine learning you don't need like anything really special. You can run machine learning code on a simple Raspberry Pi. It doesn't need to be CPU intensive.
Mhm.
As long as there's enough data, and there is enough data, right? Machine learning can figure out combinations that will make sense out of these data breaches. And yeah, so you think, I tricked the machine. The machine is already reading the pattern and figuring it out on its own. So please use something random and protect yourself.
Yep.
I'm off my soapbox.
Well, and even if you're not ready for that right now, for that whole shebang, what Gal is talking about, go ahead and make sure that your important sites, your bank, your doctor, your anywhere you do financial stuff, have different passwords at this point. Even if they are not sophisticated, at least they should be different. And yes, and go take it one step at a time. Of course, you can take the leap and go into the a vault. Hey, yeah, but I know a lot of people will not do that, so it's a shame. Anyway,
some folks are even requiring now. Like I mentioned, I was working on a little thing, and I'm doing payments through Stripe, and I got added to the Stripe account that already exists. I got added as a user, and before it would even let me log in, I had to set up 2FA. Wasn't even an option, which I think needs to become more and more, especially for things, anything financial. At this point, it should be required.
I got an email 2 weeks ago from UNC Health. It's starting January 24th. They're going to go to two-factor, and if I don't enable it, it's going to be enabled by default. And then if I don't want it, I can go ahead and disable it. But no, yeah, let me do it. I went through it and I said, yeah, turned it on. And they said, okay, we have your phone number as this and we have your email as this. Where do you want the notice to go to? I said, cell phone. Waited, nothing. I clicked again, send again, nothing. So I forgot. I said I'll call him. So last week I tried it again. The same thing. So I called him and I said, "Look, guys, either something is not working right, or I really suspect that you probably sent a text to my phone and I blocked it, and I'm not getting your notice. Do you have any idea what it is? Because you go to the block list and you don't know which one to unblock." And she would just say, "Oh, wait, but this is not going to come up until the 24th." I said, "I know, but I want to set it up right now."
What the hell?
And she said, "Well, two-factor
Exactly.
two-factor authentication will send you a notice." I said, "Ma'am, I know what it's going to do. I'm trying." And as we were talking, I said, "I'm going to send it to my email just for the heck of it." Sure enough, it worked. So I told her, I said, "Well, you see, it's sending it to the email, but it doesn't send it to my phone. I'd rather it come to my phone." She said, "I can't help you. I have no idea."
Huh, great.
Yeah. And with more and more people getting robocalls or spam texts and all that, you block and you block and you block. And you may block somebody that you will need later on. You want them to know what number is sending it out.
Well, yeah, but you can't expect
Right.
to be fair to the lady working
Yeah.
at the UNC help desk. I mean,
Right.
they're not doing
Well,
the text
that's what I asked
What
at
is
the
it through,
beginning.
is it through what's the name of the system called? Is it MyChart?
Yeah.
MyChart? Yeah. So I mean MyChart's the one doing all of that. They're not doing it.
Yeah, so I that's the first when she
Have
said
a
how
text. You should have put Kathy's phone number in there as a test and see what number it came from.
I can't.
Why?
Oh, if she will turn it on. Yeah. But no, because they already tell you this is the phone number, this is the email. So where do you want? I can only choose click on this or click on that. But you're right. I could tell Kathy to turn it on and see.
Gonna have to.
Yeah, absolutely. Good idea, Nick. Oh,
I'm
shoot.
full. I mean, this
Yeah.
is why I'm
Yeah.
such an integral part of this
Yeah.
program. I
Good.
mean, it's just
Good.
I just have these ideas are just they're phenomenal.
All right.
Interesting. See, it's funny because I have to look at mine.
Yeah.
I'm part of the New Hanover Regional Medical Center system. And I have not seen a notice about that here.
Yeah, it's the 24th. They're going to force you to
Yeah, but it might be a choice
that's
by
by which hospital?
UNC Health
correct.
IT department to switch that on,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it,
Yeah, I
it
just
might
logged
not
in.
be a
and I
my
don't
chart
see-
thing.
Oh, yes, I owe them $25.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
go on the left side, if you want to see if it's on, go to the preferences and then security.
You just cost the man $25.
No,
Show some respect.
I saved them some, I think. So you wouldn't have to pay.
Yeah, so I see that I can turn it on,
Yeah, okay, well, yeah.
but I don't see a notice that
Yeah.
it is being required.
Oh,
I'm
there's-
surprised in this. Again, this is the kind of industry where I don't know why there's even an option.
I know it should be by default.
Yeah, and I get it. You've got, especially when you're dealing with medical stuff, you've got a lot of older individuals. But here's the thing: those people aren't using probably this thing anyway, so for them it doesn't matter.
Oh.
Because I mean, I understand the point is you've got older individuals that aren't technologically savvy. That how are they going to set this up? They're probably not logging into this thing. But at some point, you have to. And this is always the problem. At some point, you have to protect the. This is a good move for the majority of people, and those few individuals, the very select few individuals, they're going to have to just coalesce to it. That's just the reality.
That's
Yeah.
the question. Do you cater to the majority or do you cater to the minority as far as the user base?
It depends on the instance. In certain things, you do cater to the minority, and in certain in other things, it's the majority. And I would make the argument for two-factor authentication on banking and healthcare records. The majority there should be the goal.
Absolutely.
For example, if this was a login for the senior citizens network or something like that, where your clientele is probably not as technically savvy. All right, maybe you change your mindset, but for something like this, I don't know.
Oh,
Thanks, Amnon. I got to pay this freaking bill now.
yeah, you should. How long has it been?
Uh,
You had to go to a doctor? Wow.
okay, I mean,
The
I gotta keep up
artificial.
to keep myself at tip top performance. I
Okay.
mean, yeah. This bill was. It doesn't say one. I don't know.
Microsoft Windows 10 operating system has been available on the retail market for over 7 years and was superseded by Windows 11 in October 2021. However, despite its age, Windows 10 remains the most popular version of Windows, with global market share of 67.95 in December 2022, compared to 17 for Windows 11. According to StatCounter. But now it looks like Microsoft is ready to put the brakes on issuing new Windows 10 licenses to everyday consumers. Microsoft official product pages for Windows 10 Home and Windows 10 Pro now include the following disclaimer. January 31st, 2023 will be the last day this Windows 10 download is offered for sale. Windows 10 will remain supported with security updates that help protect your PC from viruses, spyware, and other malware until October 14, 2025. So you're not going to be able to buy a new license.
Good. Yeah, good. This is part of. I have said this for years, and I'll continue to say it. Part of the biggest problem with Microsoft in the Windows operating system is not Microsoft. It is and it's some of it is warranted, but it's the user's hesitancy to upgrade. And that puts Microsoft in a no-win situation. You can't win when people refuse to update to something new and you've made changes and updated things. Now, some of that is self-inflicted because of things like Windows 8 and Windows Vista and Windows Millennium Edition. I mean, some of these operating systems are just garbage. But at a certain point, you have to force people to upgrade because they won't.
So
some people will, but a lot of people don't. And you've still got people today that I'm sure are building new computers and installing Windows 10, especially in the workplace environment for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can't do that forever, especially when it's only getting security updates for another 2 years. Because realistically, if you built a brand new computer today and installed Windows 10, you're going to have that machine for more than 24 months.
Right. Right.
I've been running Windows 11 since the day I ran Windows 10 the day it became available, and I ran Windows 11 the day it became available, and I've never looked back. And 8.1, by the way, too, which was not my proudest moment, but
I had a customer ask me, how do I upgrade from 10 to 11? And I forgot all. I mean, the only way I do it is I have that media creation tool and do it. But I remember there was a way to do it without sticking something in there. They should have an update.
They do
to Windows 10 that in the control panel, besides activation and this, upgrade to Windows 11 and see.
It is. It's if you go to the updates menu, it is. It will tell you to update, and it will install a little add-on that will check your computer for compatibility, and then it will download the update. Absolutely, that's how I did mine.
All right, I'll tell them.
I don't know what it looks like now, but in the past, when I did it, it wasn't even available because it had just rolled out. But I believe now when you update, if you go to the update, well, and you have Windows 10, if you go to updates, I think there's a thing that will say something like try now or try this, and it'll say something about Windows 11, I think.
Yeah, I don't want to try it here now, but I know that this machine here, even though we talked about it before, it's a 9th generation or 8th generation.
There's a big difference between 8 and 9. 8 does not have TPM 2.0, 9 does.
Oh,
I think.
well, maybe
So-
that's why. I know this one tells me that it's not compatible with Windows 11.
Well, but they've also, in recent months, they've also come out with actual ways to upgrade computers to Microsoft has documentation on how to upgrade a computer to Windows 11 without TPM, but you miss out on the reason TPM the reason they want TPM is it provides huge security improvements to the operating system, which is what is Microsoft known for? Viruses. So
Yeah.
for them, it's a huge thing to have, but you can upgrade a computer without.
Yeah, this one is 87. i7
I
8700.
don't think.
Yeah. No, I mean, I know it
8000
always
series
comes
does.
up when I go to the, I think when you go to the home, no, somewhere it says, I keep seeing it and I said, oh, okay, well, never mind. So, yeah, it's okay. I mean,
If
That-
you're buying a new computer today and it's
Oh,
an
yeah,
older
it's-
stock, but no, but let's be clear. If you buy a new computer today and it's a 2021 model, which you might be finding a good deal on, it will have Windows 10 installed.
right.
You need to out of the box upgrade it to Windows 11. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah,
about it.
that will
You
make
have to upgrade it.
things a lot easier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before you get all
Absolutely.
your programs installed,
Right.
before you start setting it up and doing all that, do the Windows 11 upgrade right out of the box.
Yep.
There's a lot of there was one today. I didn't include it in specials because it was available in a select number of stores, but there was an MSI computer from 2021 that was on sale for like $250. But it's running Windows 10. That's when it was built.
All right, the artificial intelligence chatbot ChatGPT that has taken the world by a storm has made its formal debut in the scientific literature, racking up at least 4 authorship credits on publishing papers and preprints. Journal editors, researchers, and publishers are now debating the place of such AI tools in the published literature and whether it's appropriate to cite the bot as an author.
Wait, I don't know how accurate their articles are because the information, from my understanding, Chat GTP information is 2 years old. Like it's not recent information.
So this is,
but
I don't know.
I
That
guess
doesn't.
I guess it depends on the article. Like if they're asking facts and using it as like a Google machine for, I don't know, history or something, then maybe. But
It's interesting you bring that up, Katie. Linus Tech Tips did a video a couple weeks ago of building a computer using Chat GPT as the guide, and the hardware was about 2 years old. It recommended an 11th generation Intel chip. So for recent
on
stuff,
on its main page, it says everything up to 2021. So
Mhm.
it's not
yeah.
like
So
yeah.
no, but for recent things, that's a problem. I say, how do I build a computer today, and it's recommending a 3-year-old processor, and I don't know the difference. That's a problem. But I'm asking it about Roman history. Presumably, that hasn't changed.
Yeah, you
dramatically
couldn't-
in the
you
last
probably-
24
Yeah.
months.
You probably couldn't get it to write an article about how are EVs integrating into.
Oh no, it could
Yeah.
do that.
well, you probably couldn't write what's the latest cancer treatment in blah blah
No.
blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
but I get like I said, it probably depends on what the research papers, and not only that, but the people. Let's use some common sense here. I'm assuming, and maybe I'm wrong for assuming, that the people that are using Chat GPT are fact checking what they're putting out, because Chat GPT will give you the information and be like, here's where I got this information. At least when I use it, it's like you can find more information about whatever this is at this organization or this whatever. And hopefully, if they're writing a research paper, they're going to look it up and fact check that this is correct information. But maybe I'm assuming too much. I don't know.
I mean, this would be really ridiculous if somebody who is publishing an academic paper is spoiled to the point of let ChatGPT write my paper, and I'm not even going to check it, and I'm going to submit it.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yes, that will
But
happen.
they said they used Chat GPT,
yeah,
right, in the research.
yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
mean
That
Chat GPT is the sole author, right?
but that's what they say. That the question that they are trying to come up with is whether it's appropriate to cite the bot as an author. And
Well,
that's
maybe not an author, but as a source material, like bibliography.
Yeah.
I mean,
What about
but
Google?
then again, do we add Google
Right,
searches as
right.
well?
Because see, the way I use ChatGPT is it's basically a Google alternative. It, I ask it questions and it'll give me a bunch of things that I'll be like, oh, how can I use this software? Who uses this software? And I'd be like this, and this, and then I could go and look up more information on there. So I don't know, like, do we cite Google or do we cite what Google leads us to? So
You cite what Google leads you to, at least
yeah,
in my
Right.
experience.
so
But that's the
that's
thing. ChatGPT doesn't give you a website address. It gives you concepts, keywords, right?
yeah,
It
that's
gives
true.
you a text, a descriptive text that it came up with. I've heard a way to understand machine learning and AI tech is to understand that machine learning, while it is very creative, right? It is not creating anything out of thin air, right? That is the most important aspect that needs to be understood about these AI models. It is not creating anything out of thin air, even though what it is creating is unique and new, right? And what that does mean? It means AI can give us something that will feel and look like the real thing, okay? But it cannot come up with something that is completely brand new. So it is all based on all of the information that has already been gathered, and it is not bringing any new concept. Now, in art, it might look like it's creating something new because it's the art form itself, right, is using established methodologies. So it either saw art that was used created by brushes or photography, or it's manipulating pixels. There's not going to be a new form of creating that art. So it might seem unique that it has combined things uh, that occurred elsewhere into a new form, but it won't create new methods of creating art, right? The same is with research. It can gather a lot of information and it can present something that feels and looks like a scientific article, and it'll contain a lot of detail, but not necessarily precise detail, not necessarily truthful detail, and it can't even tell us what are the references it's using,
I'd be
right?
curious
And
to
so,
see uh like how they give credit to the bot, because right now when you give credit for a written essay or whatever, you say where you list the source, like it's from here, it was published this date, blah blah blah. And it's almost like you need a disclaimer on how somebody uses the AI. So like, oh, I use this AI to help me formate my plot points, or I don't know. Like
right.
it's a complicated question.
I would, if we get to a point where we are utilizing AI output as is, right? I would definitely think that when citation is required, it's not always required, but when it is required, then the citation would be basically the prompts you gave AI to create the content.
Mm-hmm,
It's
mm-hmm.
very important because First of all, if we give that prompt from a different at a different time, or even in sequence, we won't get the same answer, but we will get something very similar.
It's like you
right?
have to
And
write a
so-
second paper analyzing how you used or explaining how you used the AI.
yeah, maybe an appendix, an AI appendix.
Yeah, because
maybe.
you could
Yeah.
definitely use AI just as like a fact checker as far as like giving it the information, or you can have it act like an actual partner or a writer where it helps
Right.
you write the article instead of just listing information. So
Right.
yeah, this will be I'm sure this is going to be a debate for all the academic universities going forward, where they're going to think about how they're going to categorize it. The wrong answer to
Well, it's
all of
going to be
this
easy.
is
I'm
to
going to
ban
tell you
it.
exactly what's going to happen, right? 80%, maybe even 90% of academic research facilities, they're going to say, we're banning AI output completely.
Yeah, see
Same,
that's a
exactly what
stupid
they
answer.
did with Wikipedia, right?
Yep, and that's stupid.
And I agree. I agree. It has
Yeah.
zero sense. But it also means, say, we have our ways and we're preserving the old ways, etc. Blah 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 blah. I mean, the initial knee-jerk reaction is always go the conservative way, and the conservative way means I don't like.
That's the
change,
easy
right?
way. Just get rid of it.
Yeah.
But it's stupid because then the people they just won't cite that they used AI. They'll still use it. It's not going to stop people from using it. They
Of
just won't
course.
cite it.
I mean, this at least with Wikipedia, right? Which has been a major game changer in any knowledge research, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There's Wikipedia by design is forced to quote the sources, right? I mean, it's not all, you don't always get all of the sources, but if you can cite something from a source, then at least you can go to the source and read that and form your opinion based on that. With ChatGPT right now, we don't have that. And I don't think the model itself, I don't think the way the information gathering and then compounding and presenting, I don't think the model itself can produce an answer of this is how I sourced it. Now, I know to a lot of people who do not understand the technology, that sounds like a cop out. It's not a cop out. It's just the way machine learning works. Machine learning isn't about, it's not similar to any way to old school programming where there's a very distinct process that goes from A to Z that you can describe every step of the way. Machine learning is a matrix of uh, um, uh, uh, of different choices that provide something that looks like. It is not deterministic in the way old school programming is, but it needs, if you give it 1,000,000 bits of information, it can give you answers about 10 bits of that information based on those 1,000,000 bits, right? It can reduce a huge amount of data and put them through different models of comprehension and produce something that looks like human thought at the end.
Or it
But
should.
there's no way of tracking it from point A to point Z. It's that we do not understand how it does it. Okay, that's the main thing. It cannot come back and tell us this is my thought process.
Talking about
So
ChatGTP, they released how much it's going to cost to use it. It was $42 a month for the premium service. They said that it's still going to be free, but it goes down a lot based upon how many people are using it at a time, and you get limited on how much, I don't know, space you use on their servers or blah 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 blah. But yeah, for $42 a
that's
month,
fine.
you can use it.
All right. Anybody has any comment about Bill's question in the chat about the FAA needs to upgrade from XP?
I don't know that I didn't hear the XP part of the comment. But I mean, the federal government's systems are always old, and I mean, the IRS still has to use IRS still uses tape backups. So that Yeah, I mean that's a. It's funny enough. I think the FAA had a $9 billion budget last year. I think is what their budget was, and they're bitching that they don't have enough money.
All right.
Because those $9 billion are already allocated. Now you want a new project? Come on.
Oh yeah, yes, allocated to the wonderful work of the wonderful work of the FAA.
Yeah.
Come on.
All
don't
right.
be like, don't be that way. Things are
Don't be that way
planes are
about
not
what?
falling from the skies.
And that's
Right?
because the FAA.
They're doing great job.
The planes aren't falling from the sky because of FAA.
I mean, that's what they'll tell you, no?
Yeah, well, okay, I think the planes aren't falling from the sky because of Boeing and Learjet, whoever's making. The FAA has got nothing to do with it. We know how great the TSA is, another great branch of the Federal Aviation Administration.
So there are two more incidents. I'm trying to give it to you slowly. T-Mobile, the nation's second largest wireless carrier, on Thursday disclosed that a bad actor took advantage of its application programming interfaces to gain data on approximately 37 million current postpaid and prepaid customer accounts. Now they say they were able to trace and stop the malicious activity within a day of learning about it. Now, remember that part. They're also saying that the API that was used does not allow for access to any customer payment card information, social security, tax IDs,
Hold on.
drivers.
You said credit cards a moment ago.
No.
Reread the from the start.
The nation's second largest wireless carrier on Thursday disclosed that a bad actor took advantage of its application programming interfaces to gain data on approximately 37 million current postpaid and prepaid customer accounts.
Okay. Postpaid and prepaid accounts. Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
accounts.
sorry.
Okay, I see where you. Okay, so they couldn't get the tax number, social security, driver's license, or other government ID numbers, password, pins, and anything like that.
Okay.
But
The
remember,
API exposed
there
the
were
account names or the phone numbers.
Well,
right.
Probably. But remember the one day. This is
Yeah.
like Amazon 2-day shipping. The article goes on. The carrier believes that the breach first occurred on or around November 25th, 2022. The carrier didn't learn that a bad actor was getting data from its system until January 5th. So,
but the moment they understood, they blocked.
Yeah, then they.
That's. Come on.
Oh boy. Yeah, but you see,
Idiots.
this is what they go. They probably went after to get more username and passwords.
Yeah.
And that's what they were doing. And they're not. And here's the next one. Email marketing and newsletter giant MailChimp says that it was hacked. Now, they said that they were hacked and that dozens of customers' data was exposed.
Dozens?
That's
all the customer they have, right?
Now, wait, dozen of customers or dozen of the data of customers, like name and
Of course. Yeah.
It is the second
Dozens.
time the company was hacked in the past 6 months. Worse, this breach appears to be almost identical to a previous incident. MailChimp said that its security team detected an intruder on January 11th, accessing one of its internal tools used by MailChimp customer support and account administration. Though
So
the company
didn't
did
change the IP, they didn't change the port, and they didn't change the password.
Yeah, they left
man.
everything the same. We're still working on it.
Exactly.
MailChimp said the hacker targeted its employees and contractors with a social engineering attack. The hacker then used those compromised employee passwords to gain access to data on 133 MailChimp accounts, which the company notified of the intrusion. One of those targeted accounts belongs to e-commerce giant WooCommerce.
So let me ask you this, Amnon.
Yeah.
Is the customer, your customer that we talked
Before,
earlier,
yeah.
does he use MailChimp?
I have no idea.
Because then it would explain a lot, right?
What he
Because
wants
if
to do.
they're
Yeah,
using,
that's
whoever
true.
is
Yeah.
hacking, whoever's hacking is using social engineering and is successful in it, right? Maybe that's their next step, taking one of those customers, right, and trying to target them using the data they've gathered, right, in order to take control of more. So
I mean, this also brings me to a little explanation of how we do things at Delta Force. And most customers love it. Some customer needs a little bit of explaining, and then they say, "Oh, I see." If you try to log into your account, let's say with WordPress, and you fail after 2 attempts, your IP is blacklisted. Different things that you try to do. If you try to go to, I mean, this is an output of a program on WordPress called WIN10. So we take that information and we do whatever. By default, you can try hundreds of times.
all right.
And I go and I make sure that I said, when I have a new WordPress customer, I said, I'm going to install WordFence. I'm going to manage it, and it has to stay there if you want to be part of our customers. Then all this information also goes into a firewall blacklist that keeps it blacklisted forever. And I don't care if it's a machine that was compromised somewhere in Arkansas or in Beijing. It's forever blacklisted. And they asked me, well, what if it was just, and they found out what it is, that if there's a problem and somebody cannot get to your website or to your information, they will get in touch with us. They will tell you that they can't get to, because you tell them, go have it, and we'll take care of it right away. We get blacklists from different sources. And those blacklists are compromised of IP addresses. Some are domains, but mostly IP addresses. It goes into a blacklist that does not allow it to come in because they already did something on another server. I don't want them to come do it on ours. And so forth. I mean, it's erring on the side of caution. And you do it like this, so they're coming, let's say, to a web server, one of the web servers. All those IPs also get added to another web server, the third one. So even though they did not try to go there, but we're going to make sure that if they try, they don't get there. And I see every now and then that some of these actors going to one website and then to another one and then to another one within a minute. So you know that they know it resides on the same. It's not that they know it's bots, but and many times it is just so nice to be able to see, wow, look how many were added, and you know that they are being attacked, and you can tell the customer, look, see, this is why. And so far, I have not had one customer to say, no, I can't stand it. I don't like all this security. I'm going to go somewhere else where it's easy. It's, you go the extra.
Fair,
it's what?
to be fair, though,
yeah,
your customers have come to expect that from you, which is a good thing. That's not a dig. They've come to expect that from you. The general consumer would find that annoying.
Annoying. Annoying. Yeah.
But you've trained your people to act in a good manner with it so that
Yeah.
they don't have to deal with it. So
Yeah.
that's the 20 plus years of training is paid off.
WordFence just added something that they call, I can't remember, the intrusion, for free. They'll give you information about everybody in the world that was trying to break in to a site. But you need to explain to them. So I talked to the guy and I told him what we do. And he was at all. He said, "You're doing all this?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "So what do we need us?" I said, "Hey, there's more to it, and it's probably not enough." And that's it's a good feeling to know that you're doing so good for your customers. Yeah, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, but hey, it's good. All right. Did you before we go, did you know that the State Department is changing their default font?
Oh, great.
So it says the U.S. State Department is going sans serif. It has directed staff at home and overseas to phase out the Times New Roman font and adopt Calibri. This is because the administration thinks that it's easier to read for older people or for screen readers and things like that. The Calibri font is easier to read, so they're changing everything. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure this will cost the U.S. taxpayers about $500 million for them to
Probably
to get these changes implemented across the Department of Homeland Security.
And God, I hope you didn't buy any of these, and you too, Nick. If you search for external SSDs on Amazon.com recently, you may have noticed something weird. Mixed in with the 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte drives from brands like Samsung and SanDisk are a bunch of listing for 16 terabytes SSDs, mostly around $100.
Wow.
And with surprisingly high user rating.
Holy moly.
Every single one is a scam. Even if they ship by Amazon. The editor-in-chief of Review Geek bought one of the 16 terabyte SSDs and tore it down to reveal a generic 64 gigabyte micro SD card inside.
Wow.
On a USB 2.0 card reader.
Now hold on. Is there a little chunk of metal in there to give it some weight?
I don't know.
Even though it's flash memory, you still need to feel like, wow, this is some storage here. I got some capacity.
I don't know. Another writer writing for ZDNet found the exact same thing. Different packaging, different case colors, but the same trick. So be careful.
This has
what you're
been
saying
a problem.
is that they're selling mainly for journalists.
$100 for 16 terabytes. Yeah, give me 5.
This has been a problem for a while with these where you see it specifically, or where I first saw it was the 2.5-inch SSDs.
Mm-hmm.
You would find these no-name brand Chinese SSDs on eBay or Amazon. People would buy them, open up the case, and it's literally a freaking flash drive inside of a hard drive, inside of a 2.5-inch SSD included. And it's not the size capacity. It doesn't have any of the cache or anything that the drive is saying. It's literally, in some cases, it's a double-sided female-to-female USB cable to connect it on the other side.
Yep.
They're just hot gluing it to an enclosure.
Yep.
It's a great scam.
Obviously, people are buying them. But how do they get so many user ratings?
They're bot accounts that they have that do review. I mean, Amazon reviews have been, it's for quite some time now. And Gal, what's the plugin? Fake Spot?
Yeah.
Fake Spot.
Amazon reviews have had a problem for a while. I mean, Amnon, you and I have gotten it before. Remember when we ordered that
Yeah.
We ordered a network attached camera.
Camera,
Or a PTZ camera. And the guy or gal who sold it to us sent us a review.
Yeah.
Sent us an email and said, hey, we saw you bought this device. If you give it a good review, which I was happy with it, so I did, we'll send you a free 64 gig SD card to use. And Amnon and I both did it.
Yep.
And I got it, and it was legit.
And I'm still using it, and it's great.
Oh my! I'm still
working
using
great.
it.
Yeah.
The micro SD card that I was going to use for my Raspberry Pi is in my security camera outside.
Yeah. But
So
yeah,
that's how they do it. And it's not the first time. I have a suction cup mirror in my shower. When I bought that, I got an email or message from the seller. Hey, leave us a good review and we'll send you a this bottle, this insulated water bottle.
Oh.
So
be careful
with
it.
I left it. Yeah, be careful because if I didn't like the people, there will be people that buy these things, return them, leave a good review, get the free product, and then sell the free product. I mean, this is people do this full time.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anywho,
that's all I got. It is this time of day that we need to
overtime.
see. What?
Overtime.
Yeah, we're in overtime. Absolutely. Anything
Love
else?
That OT money.
Wow. Very very hip of you.
Anything else anybody wants to add?
Oh, my battery thing. The what the hell, Battery Daddy is still not shipped. It'll apparently be here in late February, according to Amazon. So I guess it's way back ordered. So a lot of people were buying the Battery Daddy. Yeah. So that review is pending.
Wow.
It happens.
That sounds like they did not plan that sale very well.
I'd venture to agree with you.
Jeez. Okay.
Good thing I don't need it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, guys, for getting up and be here. Thanks, Gal, Katie, Nick, and Spence. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Donna, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov, and Yael. Thank you, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and upgrade your virus scanner. Change your password. Don't choose the same password in 2 different places.
And enable 2-factor authentication.
Yes. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And remember, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., Nick is on Wilmington's 680 The Wave and 107.9 FM with his morning news show and commentary. If you can't make it, you can tell your if you're not in the area, you can tell your Echo device to play 980 The Wave, or you can go to the recordings at nickcraig.com. And Tuesdays at 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do the Infection Podcast on Twitch. Survival games and gaming news, politics. Good show. So Tuesdays, 7 p.m. at twitch.tv/Infection Podcast. Enjoy. Have a great week. We'll be back with you next week.
to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.